Do I miss Boston? Yeah, I mean, I don't really, I love it when I love it. I miss San Francisco, I think because I built the best part of my life there, and because it's my place. But I relate violently to Boston, Massachusetts. And I don't know if I miss it. When I'm there, I'm psyched. Feels like shirt you like to wear. But yeah, no, I don't think I miss it. Maybe nostalgia for me disappeared at a certain point. It really did. I think it went with my wonder. I gotta get it back. But I used to really miss the fall in New England and New Hampshire, Boston. That was a really magical time. Now I don't really, it's not even like I've zen myself up and I'm living in the moment. It's just like, I spent so much time missing things. Then my mom died and I was like, oh yeah, I think it was just that she didn't love me. Okay, great. Moving on. And so that was it. It was perfect, it was like, that's how it worked. So yeah, no, I miss San Francisco because it's awesome. And I love taking the bus around, and I literally I drive around that city and I'll just call my wife from the car, or I'll be on a bus and I'll be like, this city is fantastic. It gets shitty PR at this point because people love to hate on something. And I think they hate on that because it's magical and it's fun to kick something that's magical. Because independent of if it's tech bros or hippies or whatever, San Francisco exists in this weird place where it's surrounded by water, 7x7. You have mountains, you have forests, you have beaches, you have fog, which is my favorite thing in the whole world. It's exceptional. There's nothing like, we were shooting these videos. I have these in dropping the record, we were pimping everything. And so I had my friend Ehud come out and we shot video for each song, just me acoustic, in different parts of the city. And we went to Baker Beach, which is my favorite beach in the city. And it was sunny and beautiful, and we shot it, and I watched the footage, and I was like, it's weird. He's like, yeah, well, it was noon, and it's hard, the contrast, the sun was really hot. And I said, well, let's go back when the sun's going down. And we went back, and it was he's like, dude, this is crazy. I'm freezing. It was he's like, this is a completely different place. It was wind was whipping. It was stirring up and dark, and the sea was ferocious. And I was like, so yeah, I just think San Francisco's the shit. And it's funny, people clown on it, because we have a lot of folks living on the street, but those are the people that live in places where they've pushed the people that live on the street in their town out, because it's everywhere. And we have issues with people using drugs, and it's tough. It's it's a global crisis, and people just like to clown on the liberal cities. So anyway, I fucking love it. So no, I don't miss Boston. But when I'm there, I definitely am like, oh yeah, I feel like it's part of my skin, you know what I mean? So yeah, good question, long answer. Yeah. Great question, Jesus. She asked what I'm trying to do what am I trying to do for myself when I write a song? I think writing songs for me is not second nature in any way, right? Talking is easy. I like to talk. That's why the live shows are so, why people keep coming back, I think, because I have no filter and I just say how I feel. And to me, that's the most cathartic because there's no structure to it. It's just me being able to talk. Songwriting is a sacred thing that I'm not particularly great at. And so for me, songwriting is a tangle of trying to get what I want to say out, but also allowing the song to do what it wants to do. And then, and then hitting against the limitations of my voice or my ability to write chords or my co-writer's ability to write chords, all these things So songs, I think the idea is that every time I write a song, I want to write something either as great as With or Without You, or Don't Think Twice, or Peace, like Case of You, like name your number of amazing songs. I think it's intimidating to write songs because there's so many incredible. I mean, like when you listen to Let's Go Crazy by Prince, and then you sit down to write a song, it's like, you're like, maybe I don't need to do this. But I do love writing songs, and I do love the mystery of it and all that stuff. But so I might go in, any intention I go into writing a song usually gets in the way of the song. So I try to just let it do its thing and kind of slap it on the bum and let it kind of run. But I think the most cathartic for me is just talking. And I did this solo tour maybe a year ago, just like 10 dates, just me by myself. And I said to my wife, I was like, I don't know what I'm gonna sing on stage. And she's like, I don't think you're gonna have any problem. And then she goes, by the way, nobody wants like the world according to Matt. And I go, they don't? And she goes, no, dude, they don't. Like, definitely, like, it's funny. I said, isn't it funny? She goes, yeah, it's funny sometimes. So, like, maybe err on the side of not telling everybody, how to think or whatever. And I was like, okay, that's probably smart. So anyway, I think the most free I feel in my life is on stage in between songs. So much so that when I get off stage, Kenny or Aaron will be like, oh my God, that thing you said. I'll be like, what did I say? Because I don't remember, because I'm just kind of like feeling it. It's nice to feel that way, especially at a time where, it's tough to be yourself. People really like to take cracks at people for being themselves. And so long answer. Short question again. Yeah. So I'm curious as a follow-up. What was the process for Vampires? So Vampires is a song I wrote about this super narcissistic person. And I wrote it with my buddy Mark Orelli, who's from Boston, who I've never met. We've only written on Zoom since the pandemic, and I've never met him in person. He's Laurie McKenna, he plays with her a lot. Laurie and I are buddies. And I just went in with him and I said, I've got this idea for a song. And I think the first line is, I understand vampires now, and I see how they end up alone. And it was this idea that I kind of had the whole thing. When you meet like a true narcissist, like a real textbook narcissist, it's pretty wonderful. Because it checks all the boxes of the shit you've been hearing. You know what I mean? Like love bombing meets, like, it's just pretty fantastic. It's like I like absolutes, and it's nice when something works that well. So I wrote it about this person, and it turned out really well. Like, that was one of those ones where we got to Mark is the kind of lyricist. Most of the time I pull the song from people and I finish the lyrics all myself. But I like to get other people's concepts of melody, maybe the shape of verse or chords or whatever. It's fun to ride somebody else's power. But with lyrics, I like it to kind of begin and end with me. And Vampires, Mark is the kind of writer who will like hang in, and I beat up lines like it's nobody's. I'll be like, that sucks. We don't want to say that. How do we say that better? And most people, I've just given up on saying that to in co-writes, but with Mark, he's like, I don't know, how about this? And then you kind of go after it. And that lyrically is some of my favorite, most recent lyrics of mine. Pigeons was about the same person, which was on the last record, and that wasn't as good. Like, it takes a little while to kind of get it. And it's empathetic, but it's also like, it's like it's the perfect blend of all that stuff. And I think it, again, like all wounds, I think it's my mom, but it definitely shows up, and other people fit that bill pretty well. So Vampires was a fun one to get. And the song was different when Mark and I finished it. It sounded like a Tom Petty song. And then I brought it to Mike Viola. And I said, I got this song called Vampires. And he's like, oh, that's great, but you should downstroke the whole song with your right hand. Mike's from Boston, He's like, you should downstroke. And I was like, okay. He's like, yeah, what if you did it like this? And I still have this voice memo of him taking the song and kind of miking it up. That's what I call it. And like he'd do downstrokes, and he's like, and then take a break here, just go, ooh. And I was like, and I never take a break and go, ooh. But he was that guy. He's just like, that would sound fun. And I was like, holy shit. And then we went to Woodstock to make the record, and David Barron, for the part that goes, and you just couldn't help yourself, he's like, what if we stayed on that chord and just built? So it was really like a group of us made that song. Everybody put their 2 cents in, and their 2 cents happened to be good. A lot of times people put their 2 cents in, and I'm always like, awesome! Like, these were pretty significant changes, you know, little minor tweaks that made significant impact. So, fun. Yeah, hit me. Yeah. I know. She asked about this idea that I have for a one-man show, which is that I really want to I want there to be a story told through stories. Like I want to be able to play songs, tell jokes, tell stories, and then have there be an end point. When I get up here now, it's just like an idiot, just sort of spouting shit. Like, blah, 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 my kid likes musicals, blah, blah, blah. I didn't shower, you know. It would be nice if there could be like a shape to it. I've started to go to musicals and theater, which like I never in my fucking life, kill me dead. But I've started doing it, and it's really great. And I love the idea of everybody sitting down and like following a narrative that leads to not telling you something, but just you walking away and being like, huh. And I think, I burped, but I think that music is kind of a dead art form currently. It's like it's nostalgia-based or it's based on identity, both of which, I was always a fan of the identity of the musicians that I liked, but I really like the music first. And we're living in an identity-first situation, which is fine, and we're living in a nostalgia situation. So everybody wants to hear the songs they feel comfortable with, and everybody wants to go see people they somehow see themselves in. And like I'm out on both those. Like I like nostalgia, but I don't need to see my favorite bands again, and I don't give a shit who makes the art. I just want the art. And so I feel like as somebody who is hobbled by the fact that I don't agree with that mode of doing things, it's not really my thing. I don't want to tell you about my wife. I don't want to like show a picture of my wife so you go, oh my God, I have a wife. Oh my God, I love marriage. Oh my God, it's like I don't mind talking about it, but I don't like using it as like a currency to sell my fucking songs. It's just boring. And so, and I don't want to be like, it's just really boring. And we are barraged by everybody telling us what they think and how they feel. And I just want the music to be good. And so part of me feels like if I could tell stories without making them necessarily about me, but making them, this is not about me. I mean, I'm not a fucking idiot, but like, do you know what I mean? Like there's a certain thing that's happened in current musical culture that really works for people. And it just doesn't necessarily work for me. So somebody will say, well, what do you think of so-and-so? And I'll say, I love that song. And they'll be like, well, what do you think about the fact that they're dating? I say, I don't care. I don't have no idea. I don't even know what they look like most of the time, because most of the time, if they're good looking, I count it against them. If I'm like looking, if I hear a song and I'm like, I like this, and then I go look in there, I'm like, they're fucking beautiful. Like beautiful people get all the breaks. So anyway, don't listen to me. But anyway, so I thought to myself, how do I build a thing that promotes the song and invests people in new songs without telling you so much about the thing? And it's like, oh, it'd be great to like have a story, and then the song emerges from the story. Like Defying Gravity is such a great song, but when it's in the context of this story that's told, it's like exceptional. And the same with what's that song from The Greatest Showman that's the one my kid loves too. It's Never Enough. I mean, I don't know what I just heard that song and I was like, this is incredible, and then it was attached to a story, and you're like, this. I feel like that's the way to make people ingest new things. It's like you tell them a story, but it's not necessarily a story about you. It can be a story from you, but so anyway, so I have this idea of a one-man show where we get to come and hang out, and I get to do this thing, and it can just be me and you. And I think that's kind of a cool idea, because the only thing I know about myself, and the only compliment I'll give myself, is that nobody does the thing that I can do in this environment, because it's the most me that I am. So they can do a version of their version, but I feel very me when I'm just hanging out. And so I sort of feel like, let's lean into that idea. You know, like tell some stories that are poignant and funny, and then everybody I just am not a good enough songwriter to be. Paul Simon can write songs that have dynamic in them, that give you all the feels. And like, I'm just not that good a writer to write Graceland or, you know what I mean? Those songs are mini operas within themselves. So, in lieu of being Paul Simon, I'd like to have like a one-man show idea. I thought it was kind of cool. So, that's my thought. Yeah, deep, deep.
So, how theoretically do you guys become friends with Mark?
Wait, so how theoretically did I become friends with Dick? I think on Twitter. Yeah, I swear. I think he reached out to me on Twitter, or I reached out to him, and I was like, awesome. And I was a fan, but I wasn't like a fanatic. And I just was like, great. And then we became friendly, and then he's like, we should meet. And I was like, sounds good. Richard Marx. I think we just met on Twitter, which is weird. But that was in the early days of Twitter, when that kind of stuff felt innocent and fun. You know what I mean? Like, and I mean that like, it wasn't just a barrage of shit, you know what I mean? It was like people that were posting, and you could be like, follow each other, and it wasn't about promoting your image or who you followed or all that stuff. It was more sort of innocent in that way. You're like, I like this guy's funny, let's follow this. And Richard was murdering on Twitter. I mean, like he's a funny son of a bitch. And so so that's how it happened, Twitter. I mean, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. And he's so good looking, it's frustrating. He's one of those people that got better looking as he got older, which is like, I fucking hate him. And he's got good hair. Ugh. So anyway, well, I like to pretend it's better. So I like Richard. And I like his comments. And we talk all the time. So it's fun. Thank you, Twitter.